I want to work on getting the bug running today. I've been putting it off for a few days, a few weeks, a few months. I staged it over here and I have not had a chance to get to it because I've been procrastinating like a mother, and I mean not like a mother but like a mother. Just procrastinating. Last time I worked on it, I changed the distributor out, and this is the new one. Sorry. And this is the old one. You can see that it's got the vacuum timing advance on it, and the new one that the guy gave me does not have that, although it's got this little hole for it. So I guess I need to mount that on there. I thought I'd try to get it running first and then deal with that. So I'm a little intimidated right now because two things, both related to the distributor. I'm not sure about the vacuum timing advance, and then I'm also not sure about the way that I set that distributor in there because I've never worked on a VW engine before. I think what I'll do is charge a battery up and try to find something to squirt into the carburetor and just see if it'll cough a little bit. So where I left it was trying to start with the old distributor in it, and instead of messing around with it too much, I just went ahead and replaced it, and then I got nothing out of it with the new distributor. So I don't know if I put the distributor in wrong or what I did, and then these wires on the coil are in really bad shape, so I need to do some work on that. I'm gonna start with just getting it to turn over again, and then I'll put a little fuel in it, and I'll see if I have spark, and maybe we'll get lucky. So the other thing I wanted to do was finally just put a plug in this tire. Every time I come out here, it's like, oh, the tire's flat, and then I don't feel like moving it. So I may or may not even have my compressor with me. So I'm gonna fix that tire first. Last time I came out and I went to lift the car up and it did that. So off to a bad start. That's just for the running board, I think. So I shouldn't have lifted it up there, and you can see the damage I did. So don't do that. This is kind of my first car that I need to get rid of because I don't have a job right now, and so I need to get rid of a few cars to try to keep things going. I figured this would be the first one to sell because I'm not totally into the 68. I'd like to get an older one. I like the older bumpers. I'd love to get an oval window. It is a cool little bug. I love the blue, but it's, I don't think, worth putting money into, and I don't have any money to put into it. So I'm gonna work on getting the tire patched and getting the battery charged up, and then we'll go from there. There's the frame, that's pretty cool. So I was hoping to find a hole in the tire, but I think it's just the bead is leaking. That's the only place I can find air coming out. Kind of a bummer. I guess it's better than in the tire, but I don't really know how to fix a bead leak like that, so bummer. I went in to put the battery in and it's just such a mess, I just couldn't stand it. So I spent about an hour vacuuming again, and just to kind of show you the condition of this car. These seats are 100% destroyed. This is where the battery goes, and it's understandable that it would be corroded because it's a battery, and they put foam over there to try to cover up some of the probably rot on that side. There's a piece of metal under that floor that they spliced in. So it's just in really bad shape, but it's as good as it's going to get for now. Up here they've got, there's a hole you can see in the front, and they put fiberglass patches in here. So I think at this point my plan is to try and get it running and driving and make it as safe as I can, and then see if maybe I can get a carpet kit for it and do some work and maybe put weld a new floor panel in, things like that. If it's not too extreme, I'll never get the money back out of it, but I want to do it to make this car, kind of get it back to being a cool little car, I guess. I don't know if it's worth it, but I'm gonna get it running first, and then I will revisit my thoughts. I got the battery charged up. I'm gonna set it in there and go back through. I can't remember even how to get this thing started, so start figuring that out and then go from there. I like going from there. So I've never really been one for quitting while I'm ahead, or if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of stuff. So I'm in here trying to go through this wiring, and I just couldn't even handle seeing all this spray foam insulation in here, so I got rid of it. That's what I've been doing for the last hour or so. So now I'm going to try to figure out the wiring. It's probably about time I go get a box of connectors. So over here was the voltage regulator, which I'm assuming works. And then down here is this relay that I think it's for what they call hot starts. So I can probably get rid of that. Well, at least try to get it started. I thought this red wire was this red wire, but they actually go into a harness that goes this way. So those are two different wires. I guess they go from the ignition. Boy, I don't know. I hate to start tracing wires. I just want to see if I can get this thing to run. Anyways, I'm going to try to work on this for a little bit. There's the insulation I pulled out. It was pretty tedious. I really just didn't want to leave all that in there. I don't know what the point of it was. It's cleaner at least. So I put all the wires back to where they were. So I am attempting to get the timing reset on this thing, and I learned that the cylinders are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, and the firing order is 1, 4, 3, 2. So it goes 1, 4, 3, 2. If you look down in here, there's a notch, or a slot I should say, and then the bottom of the distributor will slip into that. I think that I'll trust these timing marks. I think this is probably advanced. This is top dead center. So I probably want to fire here, but I'll put it right there. I think number 1 should be getting ready to fire. And this is my number 1 wire. It's kind of crazy. I could not find the firing order or the cylinder numbers in this book or in this book. And I guess I just don't know how to find stuff anymore that's not online. So I just went online and searched, and I found it instantly. I'm gonna try to clean these points a little bit before I put it back in. This is the original distributor, and the guy told me it didn't work, but it actually fired when I had this one in. Well, nail file action. That's what I do. Is that a good way to do it? Probably not. I'm gonna try to get it to fire with this and maybe run a little bit, and if that happens, I'm gonna move back to this new distributor, but it has no vacuum advance. I don't know how it advances the timing. I guess it has counterweights down inside, so it probably doesn't need to have the vacuum advance. It's a brand new distributor. I'd like to try to use it, so I could not get it to start with that. So I'm gonna try to get it to start with the old distributor. I gotta look at where that slot is, line up these guys with that. This is offset. It's not on center, so I'm gonna say ready to fire. And I'm going to see where that offset is. So the offset is this way. So it needs to go in like this. And then if I put my rotor on, it actually looks... Seems like I got it. I don't know. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten that down. Being stupid makes everything hard, turns out. Somewhere in there. Let's see if that stayed down in there. It's not turning. Great. I don't know what the hell I gotta do. What am I doing wrong here? Maybe that was the whole problem this guy was having. So I pulled this lock ring off, because when I have that on there, it doesn't sink in far enough for some reason. So I'm going to leave that off. I'm just trying to get this thing to start, because that would just be so awesome if it would just start. And then I drop my rotor. Here's my rotor. Put that guy on. Barely fits, wobbly. This is a joke, but I just want to hear it pop off again. Like, that was so exciting for me. Yeah, so the rotor is about to hit here. So that's what I assumed. I just wanted to make sure. Okay, and number 1 is I think that's number 1. I think that's number coil 1, 4, 3 by default, 3, 2 by default, by double default. Okay. Will it start? There's the gas coming in. Nothing. Not even a little pop pop. Does not have any spark. It's staying pretty cold in the Quonset. Starting to warm up outside, but it's windy and it's just chilly. I guess that's how October is. So it's afternoon and it's just not warming up out here. So I bundled myself up a little bit. I'm gonna try to work on getting this coil rewired. It did start for me. If you can look at my last video, you can see it kind of kicked over a little bit before I changed the distributor out. I think I've got the spark plug wires and the distributor set right for it to fire. I'm not getting any spark. I'm gonna pull all the wires off the coil and rewire it because something's messed up and I just got to start from scratch. I'm gonna pull the coil out and just try to figure out what's going on with it. Try to stay warm. So I've been working about, I don't know, seems like about 12 hours on this, but it's like I fix one thing and then the other thing doesn't work, and I had my remote starter switch on the starter and then it lost conductivity and so it wouldn't go. So I went back over to here and I've got my starter switch hooked up from positive terminal to this ignition wire, and then I ran, this was all kind of in there before and I pulled it out. So I've got this going over to here. Obviously this is all just temporary. I'm just trying to get the thing to start, figure out the wiring, and that didn't seem to help. But it gave me 12 volts at the coil, but I still wasn't getting a spark. And then I went ahead and changed the points from the new distributor, pulled the old points out, which definitely are pretty fried. GoPros just do not focus on up close, do they? I don't know, but you can see they're pretty fried. Anyways, so now I do have spark when I turn it over. I don't have the distributor held down, so I have to hold it down while I turn it over, else it pops out. So hopefully you can see the spark. Shoot, it was sparking. Yeah, it's kind of sparking. It doesn't look too good, but it is sparking. Oh, yay. Okay. Watch it start. Top dead center. It might actually start. I gotta be careful. So the rotor should now be aiming kind of at, oh, see, it's good I did that because I didn't have the rotor in there. So the rotor should be aiming at number 1 right now, which it's not. But let me go around one more time. It's arcing down in here, which is not good. There's definitely problems. Maybe that's the problem with this distributor. Okay, so that's aiming at 1 now. That should be 1, I think. That should be 1, 4, and then this is 3, and then this is 2. All right, so it should start. Yeah, right. It might. Who knows? Having the rotor on probably helps. That's about the last of my ether. Everything's good to go. Oh no. What happened? I guess this is my process of learning how things work. It could be flooded for all I know. The fuel pump's working because there is gas in the fuel filter. So I think I'll come up to here, try it again. No spark. Well, I ain't gonna run with no spark. So it's like day 12 of trying to get this bug running. It's very windy out here today, so I'm just trying to tolerate that a little bit and have the patience to continue working on this thing. I did get spark in the distributor. I think I kind of figured out the wiring temporarily, but I cannot get spark to go to the spark plug. So I'm going to go ahead and put the new distributor in, because this one just seems to be kind of shorting itself out and the spark's not making it to the plug. So I'm going to try to put the new one in, even though the timing advance isn't on there. If I can just get the thing to start, that will motivate me to try to push through this thing. So let's change the distributor back out again. Yay! So this was shorting out when I was running it. This was arcing over here onto this thing. So I don't know if that was my problem. It's definitely not a good scenario. Out with the old. Oops. That's not going to be easy to find. So I dropped the screw. I'm hoping the old screw will work in here. In with the new. Rotor on. Okay. Now I want to fire number one. About there's the compression right there. Put the new cap on. Should we check for spark first? See if we get a little tick, 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 tick right there. See how that looks first. So let me go get the battery and everything ready. Whoever put these spark plugs in, I respect, because they're just kind of nice and snug and not 150 foot-pounds. Definitely not looking great, but not horrible. Once again, I should have had new spark plugs. I could just be putting in new plugs right now, but plugs are not cheap anymore. That's way too much, but that'll work. Got it in the hole, that's what I wanted. Cleaning them off a little bit with carb cleaner and a wire brush, and then in they go. So all 4 cylinders had mouse stuff in them, and I had to vacuum them out. I felt good to get that done. I'm going to show some photos here of before and after on that. No big deal, but it's just crazy how much little things you find when you dig into these cars. Nope. Got spark, that's cool. A little light came on. Yay, the starter's starting to go out. She just does not want to go. So I've been out here 3.5 months solid trying to get this Beetle running, and you can see I'm just completely worn out. I tried again last night to get to start and it just wouldn't start. And I don't know that it totally makes sense, but I'm going to try and clean the carburetor out because it's trying to kick itself over and it just won't continue to run without me staying on the starter. So it's got spark. Even if it had low compression, I think it would try to run better than it is. It would try to at least turn over, but it's just not. So I pulled the carburetor off and I am going to just clean it out, put it back on, and hopefully that'll help. And maybe I'll shave. You just never know. Pretty cool how it has a slotted and a hex. It just seems like that would be a logical thing to do. Never ever have worked on a whatever kind of carburetor this is. I was thinking that it's a Weber, but I don't know what it is. Will I make it better? Will I make it worse? Probably make it worse. Probably lose something or break something. And then I'll have to figure out how to replace it. And then about a year and a half from now. Actually, I'm getting a little bit nervous that the compression's just too low to run. It should come up, huh? It kind of looks like older gas, maybe that's been in the bowl for a while. I guess it's a Solex carburetor. I thought maybe the choke was Solex, but let me get some safety glasses and a rag. I'll be right back. And I'm out of carb cleaner. Ooh, nice little shower. Flies are horrible today. Bye-bye flies. Bye-bye flies. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. I'm really surprised it came out like that. I feel like this was not allowing gas to come in. It still feels... Seems fine now. That works. Put that back in there. And then put this back on. I imagine there's a rebuild in this carburetor's near future. But that's pretty good. All the crap in there. mama. I'm gonna put it back on, see if I did any good, I guess. Gas tank. So I'm just going to switch 1 and 2. Got them in there pretty good this time. Let me see if that's, maybe I accidentally did it right. Gosh, it almost seems like that's the case. Yeah, so I definitely had them backwards. You got 1's in the back, 1, 2's in the front, 3's in the back, 4's in the front. And it fires 1, 4, 3, 2. So I should be 1, 4. Yep, 3, 2. So let's see if it, boy, I sure thought it ran pretty good for having the 2 cylinders swapped, so I'm a little bit dumbfounded here. Well, mostly just dumb. I need to be founded. Okay, I got all the wires hooked up. I'm gonna try to start it. Runs really good. I'm super pleased. Now we can use this to grind our grains. So I think what I'm going to do now is go get a haircut. What I'm going to do now is start hooking the wires back up, try to get it so that I can start it with the ignition switch, and then I want to try to take it for a drive, I think. It's a good morning. Okay. So this is the negative side of the coil going to the distributor to the points. I just have to get 12 volts to here. I've got these other 2 wires. One of them should give me 12 volts, maybe the black one. And that's where I ran into trouble before and had to rewire everything because I was not getting 12 volts there anymore. So let's try to go figure that out. So in here we've got obviously negative on the battery going to ground. Look at this battery is in bad shape. And then positive goes to the starter, and it comes over here to this voltage regulator, which then goes to the ignition switch, which then comes back from the ignition switch here, and then from there it goes to the starter solenoid. This will charge my battery through the generator, which comes in from this red wire. As of now, I should be able to turn the ignition on, and it turns over. There's just no 12 volts. When I turn my ignition switch on, I just don't know why I had 12 volts and then I lost it. That's the other thing I want to do with this car, is try to clean this wiring up. Oh, there's 12 volts. So I don't know what he was doing with. Let's just go to a wire that doesn't go anywhere. So put this guy back in. I think I have 12 volts over here. Ooh. Okay, that might have been it. Let's try to start it now. So I think I got all my wires figured out. I think I can actually go sit in the car, turn the key, and it'll start. But we'll see. We shall see. Don't ever let me work on your car. Well, I'm gonna put the wheel back on and I'm gonna go for a drive. And you're gonna go with me, if you want. That rain was nice, man. It's gonna keep the dust down. It's awesome. It's on my list to fix this thing. Too much oil. That's good. Better than not enough, I guess, right? I found this little thing laying in the bottom of the So yep, getting that bracket back on with the spring. So the bug almost made it back into the shop. A little help from Molly, we got her back home. I'm thinking the generator is not working, or could just be a bad connection at the voltage regulator. It's pretty fun getting it out for a little drive. I wasn't shifting it very good. Got a little work to do on her, and still trying to get it back on the road, but at least it's running and driving, and brakes work, kinda. Everything seems to be working, kinda. And we'll just see what we can do with it to try to get it back on the road. But that is my 1968 Beetle. That's my bug, and that's my dog. Hope you guys enjoyed another episode of How Not to Work on Cars. Hope you're having a great night. Cheers to you.